You're listening to the Central
win
Indiana
over Purdue
Sports
on
Report
Sunday afternoon. I'm going to do a 15-second recap of what happened and then let them take it over. IU played well early. Purdue went on a huge run late in the first half to take a 12-point halftime lead, 37-25. And then Indiana came out in the second half and completely dominated the second half from start to finish. 48-21 was the total. And Indiana has a big win over Purdue to add to its resume. And, of course, anytime Indiana beats Purdue, it's a big win. Grant, thoughts?
I can tell you this. Whatever Mike Woodson said at half, it was maybe one of the more inspiring halftime speeches in Indiana basketball history. I mean, that maybe sound like an exaggeration, but it was night and day from first half to the second half. And you're sitting there thinking, I'm sure Michelle feels the same way. You're sitting there thinking at halftime, man, just another typical IU Purdue game where Purdue's going to run them out of the gym. And even there for like the first minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes of the second half, you're like, Rice shot an air ball that didn't even draw iron. I mean, barely even grazed the net. And I don't know what it was. Just things started to click. I think it becomes a mental game for Purdue with, Kaufman Wren getting in foul trouble and First being in foul trouble. Purdue is 0-3 this year when Caleb First fouls out of the game. So, I mean, what does that tell you? I mean, and he didn't foul out today, but he got in significant foul trouble. And that just goes to show they're not the same team when their bigs get into foul trouble. And Matt Painter's one of his keys to the game was limit points in the paint. And that's exactly, and they couldn't do that. Like, Indiana had their way inside. One of the more dominant paint production games they've had in years. So just an impressive win. CBS says this gets Indiana on the right side of the bubble. To me, I think they need maybe one more quality win. One of these next 4 games, 3 or 4 games down the stretch. If they were to win out and win a game or 2 in the Big Ten tournament, I think we'll see them in the NCAA tournament. But a lot of work to do for Indiana, but today is just the first step, in my opinion.
Winning out and getting a tournament, that's the only way they're guaranteed. It's the only way they are off the bubble. IU will be on the bubble unless they do close out, unless they win their next 4, I think is what they have remaining, and get at least probably – it will have to be a good win in the Big Ten tournament. And if it's a loss, it can't be a blowout loss. I don't know that consistency gets them there. I will say this, if they are a bubble around some other teams, the fact that IU does travel well, has good attendance. I don't care what anybody says. I do think money plays a little part in that. Today, I thought, Grant, I don't know. It'd be interesting to know what Woodson did. If I'm Mike Woodson, I haven't inspired my team I just don't inspire my team, and where I haven't done it very often this year.
Nope.
I have a great Bobby Knight thing on tape that's what I just play for my kids at halftime.
Yeah.
Something that maybe pump them up. But that said, I didn't think at halftime at 12, I was hoping it wasn't going to be a blowout. I didn't necessarily think it was, because the one thing that Mike Woodson has done well in his tenure, other than get some good players through the portal or whatever, is he has coached Purdue against Purdue very well. He will leave his coaching tenure at IU 500 against Purdue. And
I think that goes back to, I think that for him, sorry, I hate to say it just crossed my mind, but I think that goes back to being an old Indiana player and hating Purdue. There's a more sense of urgency for him as a coach to want to go beat them. Have they been blown out against Purdue? Yes, but it seems like the team always has played a little harder when Purdue comes to town.
Well, but look at it, too. Today, he started the 3 Indiana kids, Goody, Lil, and Galloway. And really, I mean, I think Goody came out a little bit in the first half, Lil a little bit, but they really didn't he stayed with those 3 kids in the second half. And, he needed to do that. Uh, and then the back and forth with Renew and Ballo, that was good. And Ballo probably got the minutes he did mainly because Renew is in foul trouble. And, I know when he went the two bigs there for a little bit in the first half, and I know at first it did well, but then Purdue exploited it because, when they're smaller, our bigs can't come out and guard on the perimeter. And so they give up and our rotations aren't good. But I think it was a good win for Indiana. Had to have that win today. The fact that had lost 4 in a row at home is atrocious. But that they, 2 of their last 3 wins against Michigan State now and a win at Michigan State and then a home win against Purdue was huge. If you're Matt Painter and staff, you've got to be sitting there thinking, what do we do? I mean, this is the first time they've lost 4 in a row in 5 years.
Yeah.
All right, Michelle, as the Purdue guy on this panel, I'm going to say that under normal circumstances, you probably panic, but we've all seen that the one thing Matt Painter does, maybe better than any coach in the country, is have a weakness and just continue to fix it and fix it and fix it until it becomes a strength. And he will figure out, maybe he won't. There are years where it doesn't happen. Maybe he won't be able to figure out and they'll go out losing, and it's possible. But I have a feeling that by the end of the Big Ten tournament, Purdue has that issue figured out, at least enough to be able to overcome it.
I don't know that
I'm not too worried.
I don't know. I think their biggest strength is going to be our biggest problem is going to be matchups. They do not have enough interior. They have been getting burnt by points in the paint.
But as you know, Michelle, every time you have a weakness, it's possible to turn it into a strength by taking that and making it an advantage on the other end. On the other end,
has always had a history of foul trouble, and that's something sometimes that can be hard to do. I'm just saying, I don't think Will Berg. Here's the thing: Will Berg has really kind of been a bust for Purdue. I think they thought that last year redshirting him and him going every day in practice against Edie and working out hard. I think I expected more from him this year, and he's just not delivering.
I don't know about that. I think they expected a lot of Jacobson and didn't get any of it. That's
right. But they did expect some of Berg because they even had.
He's a freshman
first
and was not a big recruit.
I don't know that Jacob. You'll be interested. Sorry.
For me, this is maybe Purdue's worst loss since Fairleigh Dickinson in the NCAA tournament almost 2 years ago. I mean, you look at the games that.
Well, the way it went, maybe.
That's what I mean. Like the way it went, maybe. I mean, this Indiana team has struggled mightily at times this year, especially at home. I'm being told Assembly Hall is supposed to be one of the best home court advantages in the country, and we've not seen that this year, maybe until today. And we only saw it for the last 16 minutes of the ball game. Indiana, I thought, got off to a good start. I thought Purdue, when Purdue went on the stretch where they shot 10 for 14, they're kind of in the middle to late first half. It just looked like they were going to do what Purdue does, and Indiana was just going to roll over. So the fight from Indiana today, was some of the best, maybe the best that I think we've seen all year. And to me, that goes to coaching. And say what you want about Mike Woodson, but I think, like we mentioned earlier, I think they play better when maybe the back is against the wall. This is such a tournament resume booster for Indiana, where they've got to go and string out at least 3 out of their next 4 games, and hopefully, you look at the teams that they have left on the schedule with Penn State, Oregon, Washington, Ohio State. Those are 4 winnable games coming down the stretch. You get 2 of them at home, and then you got to go to the West Coast.
And it's not like we haven't seen this from Indiana. Indiana has shown flashes where they're a really good team. The question is, can they be consistent?
The question is, Mike Woodson, Can he ever find a way to get his team over the proverbial hump, which is something he spouted for all 4 years of his tenure? Personally, for him, I think his legacy is a little bit tarnished for what he hasn't done as a coach. And it's not always so much not making the tournament. I think it's some of the other stuff. You know, I think he was a great player, and I think he thought after not having, I mean, he'd been an assistant, he'd been a head coach in the NBA, but it'd been a few years from his head coaching in the NBA. He'd been an assistant, the last 5-6 years he was in the NBA? He was an assistant. And so to go to college, and I don't think he realized that, truthfully, there is a difference between college and NBA and in a lot of different ways. And even as far as, being a disciplinarian at the head coach, I mean, you're still dealing with, and I know you get some of those teenagers in the NBA, which is my issue. Is one of the reasons I think the NBA ratings have gone down, because I don't think the kids, personally, it's not that. I just don't think kids today have a good basketball IQ anymore. And I think it's because they think they can learn the basketball IQ by playing 60 AAU games in summer, and that's not how you do it. You better be watching basketball when you're little. Parents take their kids to the basketball games now. I can't. I was shooting photos the other night for when Cliff won his 600th at Tipton against Benton Central, and I couldn't believe the number of children that were running around in and out of the gym, and even some of them were administrators' kids. And I'm sitting there going, when we were little and we went to games, we had to sit and watch. and I say that's one of the reasons I think I have such a love for basketball, and I think I have very decent basketball IQ, is because I grew up watching the games. And kids today, they don't, and they think, and playing NBA 2K or college 2K, whatever, on your Nintendos or your PlayStations or whatever, that doesn't make you basketball IQ. That doesn't give you great basketball IQ either. You have to be around some good coaching.
You did have great basketball IQ in the second half today. 64% from the field. If they shoot like that, they play like that, they're probably an NCAA tournament team, Grant. So
I'll tell you what.
That's what you can go away from today thinking.
Yeah, the one guy also I was impressed with, besides the three Indiana kids, I thought Miles Rice played exceptionally today.
I like Miles Rice a lot.
His best. I think this may have been his best game, because I have been so down on him the last 3 or 4 games because he's tried to play too much hero ball and not part of it. But part of that I do believe. Here's the thing. Mike Woodson has proven he is a great developer of post players. He really is. Perimeter players, no. You tell me one perimeter player that he's really made better.
Yeah.
None.
I agree.
None. All right. Thank you so much, guys.
Rice was a victim to that. But today he was dialed in.
I think you're right. That is exactly. Well, that's been one of the main issues for sure. I think we all agree here that a new direction is needed. Even as a Purdue fan, I really, really want Purdue and IU both to be good at the same time. It hasn't been, 1988 maybe? Maybe you could argue 1994, the last time the two teams were both national title contenders. And we just need that back.
No question about it.
I don't know. Weren't both of them at one time during Crean's tenure? I mean, I think Purdue wasn't too far off. I mean,
no. Purdue was never a national title contender when Crean's teams were no. And by the way, they haven't played each other in the Big Ten tournament since 1999. We need to see them play each other in the NCAA tournament. Yeah, the first year of the Big Ten tournament, the last time they played each other.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I think the state of Indiana, I think basketball's better in the state of Indiana game when both IU and Purdue are good and title contenders. Got a good. Just think it's real. We're just better.
Also, a little tidbit, and I'm sure you guys know this. Since the Big Ten tournament was formed, Indiana has never won it. They have never won.
No, not the men. The men have not. The women have.
The women have, not the men.
And the Boilermakers have, and they're going to again this year. All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for your time. Want to get this up and wanted to sneak that one in there. We will see you guys in March. Thank you so much, guys, for your time.
Thank you.
Look forward to it. And
Hey,
Grant?
you want? I lost Michigan State today, real quick. I thought I'd throw that in there for you. I kind of watched some of that.
Michelle, you are too breaking up. I just can't hear a word you're saying.
That's okay.
No, now I hear you perfectly. Go ahead if you sound like that. Oh.
She got off.
All right.
Oh, well.
It's all right. Thank you so much, Grant. You, Michelle, who just apparently dropped off. Oh, here, she's back.
Okay, I said
Let me do the
Ireland lost to
conclusion.
Michigan State today, 73-65.
All right, tough loss
That's
for
all
the
I wanted to
Hoosiers.
throw
We
in.
will talk more about that. We'll talk more about that tonight. Michelle and I are going to be together talking about the boys basketball draw. Then we're going to be joined later on by Grant to talk about it. And then tomorrow and Grant might have an announcement to make. So thank you so much for your guys' time and look forward to seeing you again very soon.
Yep. Thanks, Greg. We'll see ya.
Bye, Grant.
Yep. See ya.
Hey, Grant,
All
that's a
right.
great. Oh, I was going to tell him that was a great photo he got of himself with Coach Hawkins.
Yeah, it was.
So
Yeah. Well, we'll be talking to him tonight. So thanks for listening. Not sure what the issue was there, but we will have it fixed, I promise. That's something we're going to start doing more of, is having Grant and Michelle react to IU victories and losses and all kinds of things. So thanks for listening. Please tell a friend about the Central Indiana Sports Report. We are a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.